You know, one of the coolest things about music licensing is knowing that your music is being used, but better yet, knowing where it's being used. And yes, you can find out where your music is being used. Whether it's in a popular German TV show about farmers looking for wives, or an emotional badminton video, or a documentary about a church building being built in an impoverished area, or a freaky gross spider video. It's just interesting to see and hear how your music is being used and for what purpose. It's almost as good a feeling as making music income from licensing. Almost. In this video, I want to share not so much about how I am making money from the uses of my video, but how I am finding out about the uses of my video and seeing those uses. So let's take a tour of some of these websites, my PRO statement, and other ways that I am finding out where my music's being used and on what. Hey, if you are new to this channel, my name is Eric Copeland. If you are not new to this channel, then you already know my name is Eric Copeland, and I am a composer, a producer, an arranger, an educator, play a little basketball, like movies. I like a lot of stuff and I do a lot of things, but in general, I'm just a crazy music person trying to get through this life just like you and make music income and just make music as well. This video is sponsored by my brand new ebook, Getting in Sync. This ebook talks about how I got into sync licensing libraries with a very focused approach, including preparing the right quality music, signing with my first libraries, getting placements, and eventually making music income, and how you can too. So you can find the new ebook right here. I also have a bundle that includes the new ebook and my other popular ebook, The Stock Market: Where, Why, How, When, Who, and How to Submit Your Music to Stock Music Licensing. You can find all that in the bundle, including all the free stuff that we offer too. You can get it all in one tidy, small, little bundle. And you'll find it all right here at makemusicincome.com/gettinginsync. The sync journey is super long. It's super exasperating. It seems like you're waiting forever to see if your music is going to be used, to see if your music is going to be accepted by libraries, if it's going to be placed on television shows, if you're going to make money back from these shows and things like that. So you need lots of little wins. You need lots of little things that happen. You go, oh, that's cool. I just saw that my song is being used in this show. That's very cool. So here are some of the places that I find out where my songs are being used. First up is TuneSat. TuneSat is a site that listens to everything that's being played on television, and I'm not exactly sure how they listen, and I don't have all the information about that. I'm sure you can find that at their site. But this is the first place that I find out when my stuff is being placed. Now, it's not that TuneSat is infallible and that it never gets it wrong. It's possible that there could be false positives, so to speak, on hearing something of yours. I know I've had a few songs that are kind of public domain orchestrated songs that are done in similar ways. And so sometimes I've gotten told that one of my songs was played on a show, but when I listen, it's in a different key. And I think the software that figured out that my song was being played may have kind of messed up a little bit there. You can have a free TuneSat account, but it only lets you track up to 50 songs. After that, it's kind of expensive. And while it does cost, and you do have to sign up and you do have to give it some information, it's very cool to be able to see where your stuff is being used and then to even listen to it and see what it sounds like in the show. It doesn't take much time to upload. There's only 2 or 3 things you have to fill out to put your song up there besides uploading an MP3 or a WAV or whatever up to TuneSat. And then you just wait back to see if TuneSat detects your music being played in any of these shows. The second, probably most common way that you find out your stuff is being used is when you get your PRO check. This only happens once per quarter, at least in the US with BMI and ASCAP. I know I only receive my BMI statement about once a quarter, and then I'm able to look through there and see what I have been paid for, what reported that it was used, and that's how I can find uses. Again, sometimes you can go and find out more about a show that you see in your PRO statement. For instance, I just found out that my music was played in a show in the UK, paid about $60. So that was nice. And it was a use in a show, and I looked it up and I couldn't actually find the episode where mine is being used, but I know the song and I know which library it came from, so that is very cool. I've also seen many Christmas placements over the past 2 years from some classical Christmas stuff that I have done with one of my libraries, and that has been showing up in my PRO statements every year. To be honest, I also saw these Christmas placements on TuneSat, and then I can see from TuneSat what I got errored, what they detected, and then I can check it against the PRO statement. And sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's not. And again, there's not much we can do about that unless you suggest to BMI that you may have had some placements that weren't reported. I've never done that, but you possibly can do that. I've seen pop placements, and on my PRO statement a few statements ago, I saw a use from a song that the only way I tracked down that they could get the song was from Audio Jungle, which is a stock music library, and I tracked back to a date before the show aired, and there was a download on Audio Jungle of this song in the same region where this song was used. And so I can extrapolate that that song was downloaded off Audio Jungle and then used in this television show. Again, and the way I found out about that was only by finding it on my PRO statement. The third way I can tell where my music's being used is fairly new for me, and that is being involved with Content ID. Now, this is more on the stock side of things, on the non-exclusive side of things, and not on the PRO side of things, because I can only personally put into Identifyy, which is what I use for tracking Content ID for my stock music. I can only put in songs that I own the rights to non-exclusively, that are in my non-exclusive libraries. I cannot put stuff to my exclusive libraries into Content ID because they are doing that. They are collecting those incomes, and hopefully they are sharing that with me as part of the sync incomes. I'm not quite sure how Content ID fits into the sync world, but I consider it a sync type of income. Content ID is how I found out where a lot of my music being used, like this badminton video. It's one of the most emotional badminton videos I've ever seen, but it's cool that my music's being used in that. Also, a super creepy spider video that my music was used in that almost has, or maybe by this time have, 1 million views on YouTube, and made me a nice couple $300 during the summer this year, as that video was not monetized. My song was the only music used in the video, and so I got all the monetization from that through Identifyy. Recently, I had a very interesting thing happen to me with a song that was on Motion Array. If you're not familiar with Motion Array, it's a stock music library that is a little on the high end side of things. They really carefully curate. I got an email a while back from someone who said, listen, we'd really like to use this song we downloaded off Motion Array to put in this documentary we are doing. But we're concerned because it says it's registered with BMI. And I said, well, that's no big deal. You can use it. That's fine. The guy on the other end said, hey, I just looked you up and it says that you live here in Orlando, and I live here in Orlando too. I am making this documentary. If you want to meet sometime, I'd love to show you where this music is being used, how it's being used. Long story short, we met for lunch and he showed me the documentary. We got to talk for a while. It was a great meeting. It was actually a video that's being shot in Kentucky, in Louisville, which is close to where I'm from in Lexington. And so very, very cool. Back to my home roots a little bit, and he showed me the documentary, very well made, and my music is featured in this documentary. Sometimes, and I know, again, I always apologize if I talk about it being okay not to make music income, and see where your music's being used and see it's being used for a good use, to know that your music is maybe helping a cause or helping someone in a way where it's used behind film of some kind, and you're seeing the power of how sound affects the visuals that we see. When you find out how your music is being used, you can do something that you couldn't do before. You can start to build a reel. You can start to build examples of where your music is being used and put them on your website and say, look at this YouTube video, look at this documentary footage, look at this particular use in a TV show. Suddenly your site is more than just listen to these music clips. Instead, you have actual videos to show your music being used, and you get those from finding out about where your music is being used from these places, whether it's Identifyy, whether it's TuneSat, whether it's your PRO, whether it's somebody calling you and telling you they're going to use your music and where and how. Even if they don't pay you very well or at all, you can use these for your website. You can use these to get more work, to get more sync licensing possibilities. So there are a lot of cool places where you can find out where your music's being used, and there's a lot of reasons why you want to find out. If not just to make yourself feel good or to know where you got paid from someplace, but sometimes to know that your music was doing good for someone else. And sometimes just knowing that your music is being used around the world, whether it's for music income or not, it's just a blessing. And it's a reminder that your music talents are being heard and appreciated around the world. I hope this has been helpful to kind of see the other side of music licensing, to see where your music is being used. There's lots more videos here about music licensing. Make sure you follow this channel to continue following my music licensing journey, and I hope it helps you in some ways. And make sure you get the new ebook at makemusicincome.com/gettinginsync. And as always, thanks for watching.